Do you all remember those 2 chickens that I bought in my haul? Of course you did. So this one was 25% off of $5.49. And this one was 25% off of $5.45. So I'm going to take these out of the packaging and I'm going to roast them at the same time. And this one is a 5-pound chicken. And this one is, well, 5.5, and this one is 5.5-pound chicken. So I will be able to make many meals out of this, and I'm going to try to show you each one, but right now I'm going to show you what they look like before they go in the oven and I roast them. So there they are in the oven. And I have them on for I'm going to start with that. I know it's going to need more. So I think I'm going to go ahead and cut up some potatoes. And maybe one of these butternut squash that I got from the Fruit King. Probably this one. And roast those as well while I have the oven on. So these chickens took a lot longer than I thought they would. I would say they took about 2.5, maybe 3 hours. I'm going to go ahead and cut those chickens apart. Okay, so this is what I have. I have a little bit of meat left on this, and I have some meat left on this and 1 whole chicken thigh, and the rest of the chicken is in there. And what I'm going to do is take this meat off the bone, mix it with that and some of the chicken fat, and I'll show you what that looks like when I'm done. So the stuff that was on that sheet pan, I got most of it out, and I'm warming it up on the stove. I chopped up half of an onion, and I'm going to put that in there. Actually, I did just end up cutting up some of the lettuce that I bought, and this was originally this was an Ibotta purchase, and I've just been buying it ever since. It's one of Mark's favorites. I got a meal out of the chicken, the 2 roast chickens already, which I showed you, and then I divided it up equally. These bowls are a little bit bigger, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that those are pretty equal. So this is what I'm going to make with it. Tonight I'm going to make king ranch chicken and salad, and then for Monday we'll probably have either chicken noodle soup or chicken enchiladas, and then Friday we'll have chicken taco soup. So I'll put like 3 of those in the freezer. So tonight I'm going to make the king ranch chicken, and basically I don't usually make it the same way each time. What I do always have is corn tortillas, some sort of tomato product, chicken, and rice. So these are some onions and pickles that I've had for a while that I probably need to use, and I might go ahead and put those in there and eat one right now. I'm gonna put some bell pepper that I have in there. Please excuse my freezer. I do think I'm going to add, I don't know if I want to add the hominy or not. I organize this quite often. It just doesn't stay like that. This cheap stuff is what I use when I make the oatmeal cups. Yeah. So I am making my rice for my king ranch casserole. Kate is heating herself up some water. And this is 2 cups of rice and maybe like a tablespoon, a little bit more of just regular vegetable oil. And I am browning my rice first. And I'm going to put some seasonings in there and I will show you what I put. So these are the spices I'm putting on there just because I have them. Cumin, you could also leave it plain. You really could. Chili powder. This Kate got, it is bagel not included from HEB, everything citrus sriracha, and it does have salt in it. So I only put a half a teaspoon of that. And the rest I put a full teaspoon, which is probably way too much garlic powder. But I'm just going to go ahead and dump those in there. And then stir it up, because I think you can add spices while you're browning. I think it might be good for the spice to get browned a little bit as well. It is like from the earth, you know. Make it more fragrant at least. And then I'm going to put 4 cups of water in a little bit. And then taste it to see if it's too salty. If it's too salty, I'm not going to put in the chicken bouillon. Because I would normally put chicken bouillon in Spanish rice. But yeah. So you just take a tortilla like this. And you just kind of tear it in half. And then you lay it in your baking dish like that for the corners, and then you just take 2 and put them down there. And then we do have some leftover rice that I'm going to go ahead, this has been smelled and tested and approved and everything. Okay, so this is I don't know if you can see that, but the rice, the chicken, the bell peppers, and then I went ahead, I found a can of these. My mom gave these to me. Ranch style beans. They're not like typical Mexican beans, but they have the flavor in them. And so I put some of those, and I'm going to add some of those tomatoes, but I wanted to show you guys what this looked like before I put the tomatoes. So I just put down another layer of corn tortillas, and I'm going to repeat the layers, but just not as thick. Okay, so normally I would put a layer of corn tortillas on the top, but I'm not going to do that. But traditionally you would. And I'm going to go ahead and probably grate maybe like 2/3 of it up to here and sprinkle this over the top. And I'm going to put it in the oven at 350. So this is what I'm going to serve for dinner, and probably with sour cream. I didn't end up opening this. I didn't end up using that, but I have been eating the pickles. That is how much rice is left. How much tomatoes are left. So this is before. So this is what the casserole looks like. It looks delicious. I'm gonna cut it into slices and show you what it looks like on the plate. So this is what it looks like plated up. I did put some sour cream on top. And Mark and I are going to eat now, and then Kate has Kendall. She'll eat when she gets home, and Preston's at work, and he'll eat when he gets home. So what you see before you is going to turn into a chicken taco soup. So what I have here is an onion. I'm not going to use all of it. I'm probably going to use a half of it. This wrinkly bell pepper, it's still good. I'm going to use some of this garlic that I get at Sam's. This is a bag of the chicken, and I have 2 more left. And then, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the camera and not my actual hand, so my perception's a little off. I opened a big can. I think I showed you, but if I didn't, I opened a big can, like one of those industrial size cans that you can get from Sam's of tomatoes. I've already used 1 jar of it in it basically made like 3 jars, like maybe a little bit more. I used 1 jar in spaghetti already, so I'm not sure how much I'm gonna need. But I also had, this was an Ibotta deal, so I think I got, I don't know, 25 cents back on this can of beans. So I got this one because I knew I had taco soup on the menu. And then you saw me buy this hominy. And then this is the chicken stock that we have. It doesn't look pretty because I roasted it and then I used those carcasses. So it's not like pure white or like pure yellow fat like you would expect. And that's why. That's also not a lot of fat. And I haven't skimmed it or anything. But I'm going to be using this homemade bone broth. And I read, or no, I heard somewhere on a recent video, I'll try to link it in an iCard right here and down below, that drinking bone broth along with eating meat helps you absorb more protein. I don't know if that's true or not. But I'm also going to use this leftover Spanish rice. So I will show you what I do each step of the way. Well, you know, sort of each step. So I just put a little oil in there, and that is my pepper, half a pepper and half a bell pepper. So one of my frugal tips is no matter what you're doing in life, save just a tiny little bit for later. Just a little bit. Like if you're down to your last 4 pennies, save a penny. Just save a little bit for later. Save what you can, but at least save a little bit. So pepper and onion, they're both pretty strong, and it is just soup, so that'll be enough to flavor the whole soup. So I'm going to cut this up and put it in the freezer. And where's the other half of an onion? I'm going to put this in a bag that I already have in the refrigerator that I keep in there, so I can use this later as well. One more thing, I am adding like a heaping tablespoon of this garlic because it's a big pot of soup, and garlic is good for you. It's good for your heart, and we love garlic. So I added that much, and I am just going to, I'm not going to put the lid on this because these will end up getting soft enough in the soup. But I do want to go ahead and cook them because I want that I want the flavor of the cooked just seared like on the heat, not just cooked in it, you know what I mean? So I want that flavor before I start my soup. So I added, as you can see, about half of that, but there was absolutely no salt in there, so I'm going to add this can of beans in there to see how much extra sodium I will need. Probably not. And there's a big percentage of sodium in here too, it looks like. But that may be with the juice, which I always drain out. Okay, so this is the rice that I made, that I had left over when I made the King Ranch chicken. So I am going to go ahead and add all of that in there. This is a pretty big bowl. Like, if you filled this with cereal and milk, you wouldn't be full for like half a day if you were me. If you were Preston, maybe an hour. But this is a big old bowl. So I just wanted to show you guys how much chicken is actually in those containers that I packaged and froze. And yes, it's a real kitchen, and I forgot to move my bar mop. So I wanted to show you what I have left. I'm going to put back in the fridge, excuse me, for future cooking. I'm not sure if it will be with the chicken recipes, but I think this will be. I'm pretty sure this one will be. But yeah, I didn't use that. I just used this one that y'all saw. And they are diced tomatoes. So if you want them to be tomato sauce, which I did when I made the spaghetti, I just put them in my Ninja. Alright, so I got, as you can see, 3 big bowls out of this pot, and there is still some left over. If anyone wants seconds, which I don't think I will, but Mark might. But look, there's quite a bit left. So I added their sour cream under there, and cream cheese, and then this is Preston's, and I'll put this in the fridge for his. And then there are a few chips left. We might have like 3 or 4 apiece, and that should be enough. So this is the second package of chicken that I'm going to use, and I have one more. And I just showed you chicken taco soup, and I think I'm going to make chicken enchiladas for tomorrow. So I am going to chop everything up, and then I will show you how I make my chicken enchiladas.
What you can do with the roasted chicken. So this is chicken enchiladas. Her original recipe calls for fajita chicken meat from HEB, which is already seasoned. So we are going to add some seasonings today, just to kind of give it a little bit more of the fajita seasoning flavor. Also too, the meat that we use is usually, we have to cook it from a raw state, so that creates some of its own juices. So I kept a little bit of the chicken stock that I used, that Leila made, and that I used for the rice. This is a friend's recipe that we use. I've already got that started. So this is a pretty easy recipe. She already did the hard work. So we added, she added onions to it. I'm going to add some seasonings. And then when assembly and stuff comes around, I will continue. So for right now, I'm just going to add some seasonings. I'm going to add some cumin. I think, I can't find any chili powder. I like menudo, and I make it with chicken and this is sorry, we got cut off. This is right. So I grabbed my phone because first died. So, the menudo, as I was saying, is really good for just like, it's got a little kick to it, depends on how much you use, but it's got all the seasonings and stuff that you would need in a Mexican style dish. So I added some cumin. I'm going to add just a touch of chicken base, just for a little bit of flavor, maybe salt, I don't know yet. And then before I do add the chicken stock just a little bit, I'm going to wait and see, because with this you don't want it too runny, because then it won't hold up in your tortillas. So I'm going to hold off on that. I might need to thin it out, but I may not. So that's what's going on right now. When I get to adding the other stuff, I will turn y'all back on. Alright, so I already added the diced green chilies. I have my glasses on, so diced green chilies. I did add, like I told you, the little bit of the menudo spice, some cumin. Did add just a touch of chicken base, because I just didn't feel like it. And we don't want it salty, but the HEB fajita meat is more flavored, and that's kind of what I was going for more than the salt. It's just a little bit more seasoning. And then now we're going to add what's up to this cream cheese. I will probably not use the whole block. I'll do what Leila does and go by a texture, because again, like I said earlier, you don't want it runny, because you want it to hold up in the tortilla shells. We use flour for this recipe. Having whipping cream will go over the enchiladas when you have them done, and then they will be topped with Monterey Jack cheese before they get put in the oven. So once I get to assembly, once I'm almost done and I'm putting the last couple in, kind of go over everything and throw it in the oven, or maybe let it sit for a little bit before I put it in the oven, because I did it kind of early. But I know Leila records the Max and the kids. So here's what it looks like after we put the cream cheese in, and that's plenty thick enough. Leila's the expert at this, so I'm kind of try to see the number. So I'm probably going to lay them out on the counter and then roll them, and then put them in the pan just to see where we're at. So now it's all done. I got 12. You just pour the whipping cream on top, and then sprinkle the cheese evenly. And then I think, I'm going to double check with Leila, but I think it bakes, I put it at 375, but I think it bakes for like 30. So yeah, ask her for how long? 40 minutes. Yeah, 375 for 40 minutes. So here's what they look like when they come out. We like them brown and kind of crunchy. And then here's the rice. So here's the enchiladas on the plate, and Leila's plating them up. This is her concoction. I just executed today. And there you go.
So this is a small onion and 3 stalks of celery. I'm going to put some of that garlic in there. I'm not going to wait for my oil to heat up completely. I'm just going to dump it, and I'll scrape those little bits off when I can put my hand down, because right now it's holding the camera. I like garlicky chicken soup. I'm putting that much. I put a little bit of salt. I haven't put any pepper yet. So these carrots I had previously cut up. And put in a glass jar, which you saw. Because I thought I was going to make this chicken soup sooner than I have. But I haven't, so I'm going to brown these up a little bit too. So this has been cooking with the lid on for about 20 minutes. And what I did, I just dumped the carrots in there, and then I covered it with water, and I added some of this chicken bouillon to taste, and I covered it up so I could let the vegetables boil without the steam escaping. And I think because I have leftover rice, I'm going to turn this into chicken and rice soup instead of chicken noodle. I was going to do chicken noodle, but I think I'm going to do chicken and rice. So I had this French onion dip left over, just a little bit, and I also have that much rice. So I know I'm gonna have to add more water, but I'm gonna go ahead and put this in my soup first. That's really nice. And I'm actually going to save this. You can either save this for like to use as a container. The only thing is, like for like a Tupperware container, the only thing is it's not see-through. But you can poke holes in the bottom and use this as like for starting seeds. I wouldn't put this on your front porch, of course, with a plant in it, unless you spray painted it. You could do that. But I'm going to scoop out some of this rice. As you can see, it's already kind of, I don't know that I'll put all of that in there. I'm just going to put like that much to start and see. And I have not put my chicken in here yet. And this rice is already cooked. So what I like to do is just pull a spoonful up. What would also be delicious in this would be a can of, like if you had a small can of green beans. So I am going to put the rest of the rice in here. And I'll scoop that out. So I went ahead and put in the rest of that rice, and now I think that's a good amount of rice. And I'm going to let this simmer before I put my chicken back in, because there's a lot of chicken breast in that chicken, and I don't want it to get tough. I don't think I will add the green beans just because for frugality's sake, but if you wanted to, and you had more people like coming over for dinner, or you wanted to stretch this for a bigger family, or you just had an extra can of green beans and you wanted to put it in there, by all means, I think it would taste delicious. I would never add corn because I don't like corn, but you could. So I will show you what this looks like when I'm all done. It's 5:30 and I just started reheating the soup, and I also have the burner, the griddle on, because I'm going to toast some of this bread. I got this bread on the clearance rack They've been having clearance at Walmart, but not. I haven't found this type of bread too often. So I had 2 loaves. It was later in the day. I went ahead and took them both, and we've already eaten one of them. But this was, I don't remember, the beginning of the week. So I debated whether to make like grilled cheese sandwiches to go with the soup. But in the end, in the interest of frugality, we don't need the extra cheese. We don't need the extra calories or the calcium. So I'm just going to do some toasted bread. This is the chicken that I cut up. And my ladle, because we're going to use it anyway. As you can see, it did thicken up a little bit. Probably the rice. I could add a little bit of water if I wanted. I'm going to go ahead and dump in the chicken. And stir that up. So there, oh, you can't see it if I do that. This is the kids' bowls of soup. And I just went ahead and stuck it in the fridge. This is the leftover soup. And that's because I just toasted the bread. And this is our soup. You can see how big those bowls are.